Hello YouTubes, today we trained Charlie to touch, but it didn't go as planned. So let's jump right into it. But before we do that, don't forget to subscribe and click that little notification bell so you get all our videos. Before we could even start this training session, Charlie needed to calm down. So we're going to do a little contention here. I'm just blocking him out of his my space in order to teach him that you don't have to, overwhelm me. And then my colleague Randy will do a contention. A contention is basically holding the dog until it calms. So we apply some pressure, just enough to keep the dogs in our arm, and then release as soon as they relax. A contention is basically a hold to teach the dog how to control its emotions. It's like a thunder shirt. So instead of putting that vest on, we do it with our arms. So Randy holds the dog just enough so it doesn't wiggle away, but as soon as Charlie relaxes his muscles, so will Randy. She'll just hold him there with absolutely no pressure. So it's an on-off game that teaches the dog how to control his impulses. Now we can begin training. So Charlie has a little bit of understanding of touch because his owner taught him. So we're starting just a few centimeters away from his nose in hopes that Charlie will stand and come and touch our hand. The first step in training touch is to bring your hand to their nose, then click and treat. Dogs don't generalize behaviors very well, so it's important that you train both hands. Should you get injured with one, then the dog will recognize the other as a touch. You can also flip your hand upside down so that the dog gets used to any kind of position for hand target. Training touch step 2 is to start placing your hand further away on either side of you. Practice does make perfect, so repeat this step multiple times. You might need to reward this upwards of 20-25 times for the dog to start to understand that when you place your hand out, a touch is required. Or you can ask. Now I'm going to ask the owner to practice because after all, that's what we're here for. So my colleague Randy is going to transfer those steps and teach the owner how to actually train touch. And we start in the house because there's less distraction. As the owner trains Charlie and reinforces him, Randy reinforces the client for her good actions and rapid reinforcement. And that's a very important part of the training. Then Randy reminds the client to place her hand in every kind of position possible so that Charlie can generalize this behavior. Target training or touch training step 3 is now to increase distance between you and the dog. In this case, Randy and the client are both going to play this game. So baby step by baby step, literally inches at a time, you're going to start moving away from the dog and then ask it to touch. And the dog has to do the behavior. So you see how Charlie has to bypass the treat. The client says mine. The dog reflects on his decision. She still offers the hand, so Charlie really has to comply. And touch. No lures necessary. Now that we've practiced multiple times, Randy moves even further. Our goal is to be able to hide in the house, ask Charlie to touch, and he should be able to run over and find us and touch. So that's what we're setting up. Eventually, we will take this outside at the end of the video. Our final step before we go outside is testing the behavior. Does Charlie understand touch wherever I am in the house? And look how he's running and finding Randy. This is absolutely a fun game, and we want it to be fun because the day you ask Charlie to touch, you want him to be there. Once you take it outside, don't forget to come closer because now there's multiple distractions. Then we set up Charlie for success, and that's very important to learn a behavior. Touch is a really practical behavior to have in your toolbox, so I strongly recommend that you start training it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment. I do read them, and let's get this discussion going. This is me signing off and saying ciao for now. Bye-bye, doggos.